Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey Croson here with the Performance Lab of California. We're going to do another breakdown here today on Mason Rudolph, the quarterback from Oklahoma State. One of the top prospects for the 2018 draft. Wasn't able to play in the Senior Bowl this past week just because of a foot problem, but still a good person to check out his overall throwing highlights and see how well or how good his mechanics are. So, hop right into it here. One of the things he does really well, and what's really important in the throw, making it so you're getting the momentum going, is you can see he's getting that lateral shift going. He doesn't spend too much time and loading up the ball. It looks like he does drop the ball a little bit low there, but overall has a pretty effective loading strategy as he comes through. He does a good job of not getting that ball. He twists that ball back to make it so he doesn't get too much of it back behind the head. He does kind of raise. I mean, it's a little bit deeper ball, so he does end up raising that shoulder a little bit, which makes it so that back elbow ends up dropping. Okay, then he comes through and really delivers the ball. I like when quarterbacks come kind of up and through. He's putting a little bit softer touch on this. You can see how when he lands with that front knee a little bit inside as he's coming through. He doesn't do as good of a job with that front knee of twisting that knee to make it so you get full hip rotation. Instead, he gets a little bit more of that kind of upward rise going. But you can definitely tell he has a lot of strength in the shoulder and has a really strong wrist flip, and that ends up being really the big part of where he's going to get a lot of his force from. Okay, we'll go to the next one here. So this one's a little bit more of a rocket. You see a little bit more of how he throws here. Still ends up dropping the ball a little bit. You can see how he does a good job of really initiating those hips to kind of start moving forward here, right? So you can see how he starts to push off that back legs, get that lateral movement going. And then as he's coming through, he ends up kind of leaning over to the side, really trying to force that that quick movement there with the arm, right? So where Mason Rudolph is going to be able to excel is he's a really good sized person. And so he's using a lot more of kind of the momentum of his body in order to throw here rather than really having as efficient of mechanics as you can. So as he's coming through, you can see he's really pushing back hard with that front leg rather than the better idea here for quarterbacks with that front leg is really when you're transferring to onto that leg is to have more force going down rather than having force going back. You can see how when he lands, how much weight's on, how much his hips are back behind him and how much his weight's kind of going backwards. The better idea is to be able to rotate all the way through and keep rotation in the hips rather than stopping that rotation, having to lean forward kind of off to the side there, okay? That's going to be an important concept to understand in generating more power, especially if you're not a really big guy, just because if you can continue rotation in the hips, that's going to end up being a great way to generate some additional force as you bring that that trunk through the actual throw. But Mason Rudolph is able to get away with it a little bit just because of his overall size, and he definitely still has the arm strength. Okay, let's see a deep ball here. Again, you can see him twisting, rotating, get that lateral movement there with the with his lower body. Okay, it looks really good. He begins to rotate with that with his hips right here. This really looks like a really good, solid mechanics. Again, it looks like he drops the ball a little bit. That would be the only big thing I would talk about. But then from here, he ends up kind of extending again. And this one's not as bad because he keeps those hips going forward. See how he's landing or how he's throwing here compared to that last one where he was throwing with his with those hips so far back behind him, right? You want to get more to the position like here where he's getting rid of that ball and his hips are more all the way through. He still kind of goes upwards. I would say his deep ball is probably one of his better balls just because it's not as big of a problem if you're getting into that extension as long as those hips keep on going forward. So he has a good way of pushing off that back leg, continuing that rotation, and making it so the weight comes all the way through. He probably has a little bit more of a struggle when he's really trying to throw the hard underneath throws, but his deep ball from a mechanics perspective looks pretty good. He does a good job with that shoulder, making it so he drops the back shoulder, raises up the front shoulder, and then really is able to get a lot of extension here in the spine, a good amount of external rotation in the shoulder, and then let it rip from there. So he does have good, again, throwing deep ball mechanics, and one of the things that I would take away if you're a quarterback trying to get better with their deep ball is making sure as you're transferring forward, your hips are coming forward, right? When you lose that hip mobility or that hip movement, now you're not going to be able to generate as much force as if you were continuing using those hips. So yeah, that's Mason Rudolph, one of the, again, better quarterbacks going in 2018 quarterback, or I guess NFL draft, one of the best quarterback prospects in that 2018 draft. So as always, guys, thanks for checking out these videos. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to get more of the videos. And then we also have a quarterback ebook, free quarterback ebook that goes more into the mechanics, and a 5-month off-season quarterback program. Really a great program and able to help out a lot of people with just their overall mechanics inside the program. Again, it's really made it so people have the access to not only get really good mechanic training, but also get some good information about their body and exercises that can really help them become better overall quarterbacks. So, yeah, I would definitely check that out. You can click the link in the bio, see a little bit more, and then we also have a 30-day online membership, and that actually comes as part of the 5-month program. So, yeah, check that out. If you have any questions, email me, Morey, Morey, @yourperformancelab.com. Thanks, and we will see you soon.